welcome to the podcast where we talk about deep shit.
It's really deep.
We talk about anything under the stars and beyond.
Yeah.
So generally the way that this is going to go is both of us are going to come up with topics or questions that we've been thinking about that generally cause you to think deeply. In the past, I've always just come up with these off-the-wall questions that when people start to answer them, like we just dove into deeper and deeper conversations. And the most specific memory that I have of this is on the way home from a film festival that we were at. I think I asked, it was a question about the universe, like literal space. And I asked the question, is there intelligent life? And I think we talked about it for, I don't know, an hour or so.
Yeah.
And it was just very interesting that we were able to talk that long about it. And I think that's where we actually came up with the idea of the Deep Shit podcast.
Yep. It was just talking to each other, but recording it and see if other people would find it funny.
Yeah. So let's. Do you have a topic?
I do.
Do you have a good one? All right.
It has funny origins, I'd say.
Okay.
Kind of funny, depending on how you look at it. You want me to go first?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Okay.
turn this fan off because maybe it's not doing well for our audio.
Sure.
Might get a little warm in here, a little steamy.
Sweat it out.
But we talk about hot topics, so that's okay.
And deep topics. And
All right.
sometimes shitty topics.
Sometimes.
Okay, so my girlfriend and I were having a conversation last night.
Okay.
And the basic stem of it, we'll get into a more specific question as we go, but the basic stem is, should children have to pay for their parents' or grandparents' actions?
Okay, the most prominent and topical. No. I'm thinking of two now. So there are two things that have hit the media that are pretty huge. One of them being a boy who fell into a Cincinnati gorilla exhibit at the zoo, and the other one being parents that that are almost forcing their kids to eat like a vegan.
Okay.
I'm curious if that is where this stemmed from.
Not at all.
Okay. Well, wait. What are the why? What did you think this was originally? Like the repercussions. Like, what are they paying for? Like, where did it start? Like, how do you guys get on that topic? I guess is a good way to start.
I don't remember how we started because we were having a long conversation on the way back from West Virginia.
Okay.
And so it just jumped around and around, but eventually we somehow got onto the topic of white privilege, and
as you do coming out of West Virginia.
Right, sure. And the question that we were going back and forth on was, do I have a responsibility as a white man, or not even as a white man, because she was saying just as a white person in general, do white people have a responsibility to use their white privilege to push forward the matters of equality?
Like the hashtag All Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Or the whole argument of hashtag All Black Lives Matter or hashtag All Lives Matter? Like that type of like argument almost?
Right. Like, is it as a white person, should I always, do I have a responsibility to try to push equal rights?
And your original question was, do kids have to pay for what their parents?
Right.
So like what you're saying is, I'm living in a world that is getting over racism, and that is because of maybe not our parents, but our grandparents
or great-grandparents, right.
So the question is not like, my parents die with a debt, I have to pay it off. It's the societal shithole that we're in right now.
Right.
Okay. I think we're obliged to. I think we are this is something that we're required to do because we're living in the world. We can't just ignore everything. And I know there's a certain amount of people that are ignoring it. I'd probably fall into that demographic, but I know there is a significant amount of people that are making movements and stuff like that. I don't know.
So the way that my girlfriend posed it to me was that if there was a protest or something, I should almost be made to be part of that protest. Like I'm a bad person if I'm not part of that protest.
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Because even people older than our parents that founded this country, they were still paying for things that they have done. And I think that they also founded this country on whatever we want to do, we can do within like reason, to where you're not like killing somebody or stealing from somebody or directly impacting somebody's life in a negative way. I don't think that I should. I don't think I have to be a part of that, and I shouldn't feel held accountable for not being there.
Right.
I think that people should go. I don't think protests do anything personally, so I think
I don't that much either.
It's just a group of people standing in the same area, like saying the same thing or whatever. It takes somebody in a higher position to actually make something happen, or the complete opposite. Many people in no position, nobody's making a huge I remember if you watch The Bug's Life. I think this was posted on Facebook from Anonymous's account. Do you follow Anonymous?
Not on Facebook.
They're great. Shout out to Anonymous. They posted regarding like what can I do, like my vote doesn't matter, or like how can we not let Trump be in office, that type of stuff. So they posted a clip from Bug's Life, and it was when Hopper was in like that bar area.
Yeah.
And it was like he was like feeding seeds to like some of the grasshoppers, and he was pretty much like symbolizing with the seed an ant, and he was like did that hurt? And he threw it at one of the grasshoppers, and he was like no, and then like he threw another one. They're like, did that hurt? And he was like no. So then he broke off like the glass like the thing that was holding all the seeds, and they all fell out and killed the grasshoppers. Probably killed the grasshoppers. It was a Disney Pixar movie.
Right.
And that's really powerful whenever you put it in the same light as like the government or in like the society that we live in, is that yes, one person can't do something about it, but if everybody's doing something about it, not just standing in one space like holding like picket signs, but are like believe something together, like I think change can happen, but I don't think that it is required of us to do that.
So that's how I felt too. I didn't think it was a requirement.
Well, what was her argument on it then?
If I didn't actively try to change racism and create equality, that I was myself part of the problem.
I just don't agree with that. Because I think a problem is somebody who is like actively making it an issue, not somebody who. I guess you could argue that like if a road was like destroyed, it's not going to get better by doing nothing. Like you have to actually put forth effort into fixing that road.
Well, so we used to live in a house together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This sort of would change my answer, but we lived in a house with five other guys, and it was usually only one person's fault that the dishes weren't cleaned, or the house got dirty, or something was broken in the house or something.
Always.
Yeah, it was a wreck. But it was usually only one or two people's fault. When I got the email from my landlord saying, like, these are all the damages that you guys caused, he pointed out that it might have been one person's fault that the damages occurred, but it was everybody's house, so everybody should have put in effort to take care of it. So in that sense, I don't know. I agree and disagree.
But the only my argument with that is the only like outlets that I see to actually make a difference is like people posting things on Facebook, or that's pretty much it. Actually, people posting things on Facebook, and I don't see what that does.
Right.
Like I feel like awareness only gets you so far. There's no concrete answer on how to like make just racism. I guess is the probably the most prominent issue in your question. And I think that the only way to actually make that go away is to change people's thoughts and beliefs. And I don't know how a Facebook post can do that.
Right.
What are the other options? I guess is my question. What are other ways to change that besides awareness?
You can. Hannah's my girlfriend. Her example was rallying, going to rallies or protests.
That's just like Facebook in real life.
Right.
Shouting at a wall.
I don't think that they necessarily do a ton. I mean, sure, you can probably point out times that they have done significant good.
Sure, like
But
the March on Washington.
right. But also think about the terrible things that happened in the civil rights movement at protests. It stemmed into more of an argument for her and I that I've always had more of a every man for themselves mentality. That sort of stems from survival of the fittest. If I spend time that I could use to better myself, if I spend that time trying to get equality, then I'm less lowering my chances of succeeding in life. And if I feel so enthralled to be the kind of person who wants everybody to have equality and feels the need to do certain things, then then that's my quest in a sense to do that. But I don't think I have a responsibility as a white man to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I have a responsibility as a human being to do that.
Right.
So now I feel like a really shitty person, you know?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we all have our different. We all have different things that we feel strongly about. I know you and I have strong feelings about American Indians and the plights that they've had to go through, like having their land stolen from them and tricked out of it, and been offered money, but they want their land back. And so I know that I view their circumstances as much. I mean, I'm not here to compare how bad somebody's life is, but the way that they were treated, I don't know. I feel worse about that because they've had less of a chance as their own people to better themselves. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to compare like what's happening now with what happened then, it's a lot. It's there's a lot of differences right there, especially with like how they were oppressed and. But maybe that just goes like back into everything was different back then in comparison to even like 1920, you know.
Right.
So what I don't know. What I'm thinking is like I don't think it's a because like there's probably nothing we can do right now about what happened about that because like it's just such a small like there's such they've been depleted into like nothing as far as like because like people don't think about them on a regular basis at all.
Right.
But people are like smothered with the current racial issues.
Right.
Which that's a problem considering it's so prominent yet it's still a problem is incredible.
The amount of videos I've seen on Facebook of different African Americans being killed by police.
Yeah.
Like that itself is mind blowing that still happens.
Yeah. Did you see the video? The cop that pulled I think it was a black couple over, and it was a female driver, and he said I forget what he said exactly, but he ended up saying it's a crime to not have an ice cream cone on the hot day, and he just pulled out an ice cream cone and gave it to her.
No.
So he did that, and like you watch it, and you're like, okay, that's a nice little fluff piece, and then like not. I don't even think it was 2 days later. I saw a video of a younger black gentleman ranting about how that video was an issue. And it's just like there's no winning. It doesn't seem like you can win.
Right.
Like you can't publicly show that like a middle-aged white cop is like doing something nice for I think it was a middle-aged black woman. And then there was just backlash from like the black community.
Right.
Maybe not the black community. At least that one person
Right.
had a backlash against it. But like it doesn't seem like. But like with that one person, there was like I don't know, thousands of shares and millions of views probably. It's like how do you what is the path? Like is there a path? Is my question.
Right.
Is there a path to take?
I don't know. I mean, there's always going to be something for somebody to complain about, and I don't think anybody's ever really going to be satisfied with how life is. I mean, even if all women had equal pay as men, women would still find some way that they were unequal.
There'd be male groups that would find a way that women are unequal.
Right.
Like
Right.
It's gonna just be every single person, every human being in the world, generally speaking, is gonna find a reason to complain about something.
Right. Or if all women have equal pay, then men are going to complain that the women are taking their money.
Yeah.
And
there's gonna be a dumb like circle of life right there.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody that's not happy. That's why my answer to Hannah with fending for myself and like, yeah, if I want to help somebody out, that's something I can do, but I'm not obliged to do that. I'm not required to do that. I think that seemed like the more reasonable thing for me, because there's always going to be some inequality, and so if it's not me that would be required to do it, then it would be another race that would be required or something, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't. It's just that continuous circle of somebody's going to be unhappy.
Yeah, that's really it. Like I completely agree. Like
Yeah.
no matter who decides to do something, no matter how big of an impact it makes, no matter what group of people do it, somebody is going to find a reason that is not good for somebody.
Yeah.
Like Harambe. Let's talk about Harambe real quick.
Okay.
So there's this group of people that they don't like when people kill animals.
Right.
And there's a group called PETA, and then there's also people that are not as like strongly. They don't feel as strong as PETA about that stuff.
Yeah.
Then there's a group of people that said, "Well, that was a kid. You got to shoot the gorilla." And let's be honest, people. Harambe's great, but you don't let a kid die. That's a given. But there was people that like argued about that. Like there's people that said like you can't shoot a gorilla.
Right.
But they're pretty much saying like you got to let the kid die. It just doesn't make any sense. Like even there's people out there so irrational, like on that side of the spectrum, that like they would rather let a human being die than a gorilla.
But they probably feel that it's their responsibility as a human to make sure animals have equal rights.
I feel like it should be every human's responsibility to make sure humans don't die.
Yes.
Like especially, let me rephrase it. I think it's every human's responsibility to make sure that no human that is like 4 dies. Because like
Right.
there's no like that kid has not done anything bad in the world.
Right.
But going back to should you be responsible for your parents' like actions?
Right.
Parents as in
because the big thing was like, my parents weren't slaveholders, my grandparents weren't, but I don't know
but
anybody
further on,
before them.
yeah, so not like our direct parents, but like just the people before us.
Right.
Are we responsible for that?
Right. I don't.
Absolutely not.
No.
I don't think we are.
I don't think we look at Germans and say, your parents were Nazis, you should have to.
Pay all the Jews
Right.
and all the people that were oppressed during the Holocaust.
Right.
No, like
I mean, yes,
not
like they had to
your-
go through certain things at the time, but
Yeah.
like the millennials of that from Germany
Like-
aren't held responsible.
do I feel at all responsible for the fact that the United States bombed Japan in World War II? No. I didn't do it. I had no say in the matter.
Right.
So I find that ridiculous. I absolutely do not think that I'm responsible for what the past like people have done.
Right.
Do I feel like I have a duty to right the wrong? Yes, I feel like there is a duty as a human, and as I guess even to boil it down just a little more, as a man in the United States, I do feel like I have the duty to, try to make this country a better place.
Right.
And if the most prominent thing to make better is like equality, great. That's what I need to be doing.
Right. Like
I
we
have
certainly.
I have not been given an outlet for that. I don't know what
Right.
what is like the way to do it, because I don't see rallies as something that can like make a difference.
Right.
Like everybody getting in one place, I don't understand that, because I think the only way it's going to change is with the younger generations getting older and showing their kids.
Right.
So like I think then my duty in this scenario would be I would teach my kids, you don't hate the other people.
Right.
Like,
Just
unless-
because of their color.
Yeah, or their beliefs,
right.
or what they want to do.
Religions or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
Who
hate
they
because of
love,
that.
yeah.
The only way that you should not like somebody is if they're walking around and their mustache is this big and they're saying that's to all Jews. That's when you don't
Right.
like somebody.
Right.
That is
Or if they're just like a blatant asshole,
sure. I would say benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Don't hate ever. Hate is not
Right.
a good thing.
Right.
But
steer clear of the people that are spreading hate and know that that's not a good thing to continue spreading.
yeah, great. I'm glad I see where we stand on this issue.
Yeah. Now, if anything that we said here made any of the viewers or listeners mad, please feel free to send your thoughts in, because we'd love to hear them and then read them on the show and talk about them ourselves.
Yeah, you can hashtag #DeepShitPodcast.
Right.
We'll check that. We do not do live podcasts yet. I'd like to say yet. It'd be
Right.
nice to know in the future if we could do a live podcast. That'd be really cool. Please tweet at us.
Yeah.
Round 2.
Let's do it. The podcast this week is brought to you by our sponsor, Eat Me, a new documentary series that will be shared on YouTube. Comes to you from our glorious podcast co-host, Daniel Helbling. He's going to film himself eating food and see how long it takes for him to eat his weight in food, his body weight in food. Me and all of his friends, we're going to place bets and see how long it's going to take him, how much he's eating every day. But yeah, he's literally going to film himself eating everything for however long it takes him to eat his body weight. And I don't know, it's just going to be interesting.
Yep.
All right.
Can't wait. Haven't started yet. I've just started filming it. So
Right.
there'll be episodes being released probably weekly. Depending on how long they are, maybe bi-weekly. Not sure yet. It's a work in progress.
All right, so now you have a topic for the second part of this podcast?
I do. Mine seems a little bit more childlike than yours.
No, I feel like yours are always going to have more humor than mine.
All right. That's fine with me.
Because the last time, when we did this a year ago, you talked about donut-shaped planets, right?
Yeah.
And I brought up whether we should be able to genetically modify our babies.
Yeah, and I think I also took that in a different direction too. Yeah. So my topic then is, it's really like when people actually start to talk about supernatural or does it exist? One of the first things that I think people go to is either UFOs, like aliens, or Bigfoot.
I was going to say ghosts.
It's because I said supernatural. I'm sorry. We'll talk about that. That'll be another one. No, I want to ask, does Bigfoot exist? And, well, I guess, yeah. Do you think Bigfoot exists?
Just off the cuff, do I think?
Sure. Yeah. Take your time. If anybody's listening to the audio version of this podcast, not the video, Alden has a beard that's about a foot long. He camps a lot and spends a lot of time in the woods. So if anybody is to believe that Bigfoot exists, it might be him. I have no idea. You're thinking about this long and hard.
Okay, so off the cuff, no.
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 Why is that?
Well, I think we have to go into what is Bigfoot.
What is Bigfoot?
Right. The legend of Bigfoot. I don't know if I've ever heard like an explanation of the legend of Bigfoot. I've just always heard Bigfoot, Sasquatch, some big hairy thing, you know.
Well, yeah. So what do you want? So what is Bigfoot? You just
like,
answered it. He's a big hairy thing.
But is he supposed to be like a mutated human? Is he like? Because I mean, like Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, is like a sort of like a prehistoric dinosaur kind of.
Or like Lapidos, the Pokemon.
Lapras.
Okay. I don't. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, there's some context there to what Nessie is, but like Bigfoot has always just been this big hairy thing.
Yes.
And a big hairy thing, I'm gonna say no. But if Bigfoot is some mutated human who has supernatural strength and hair like a bear, yeah, I could believe that.
So you believe in Nessie, but you don't believe in Bigfoot.
I didn't say I believe in Nessie. That was my example for the. Is that a timeline of?
This is. I have just pulled up. No, this is the use over time for Bigfoot. So wait, hold on. What the hell is this? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Moving on. So Bigfoot is. I'm gonna just use Wikipedia because they reference a lot of shit down here, and I think Wikipedia
It's
is
probably true.
a decently credible source. Also, we're using Wikipedia for Bigfoot, so I don't know how true any of it can be. But he's described as a simian or an ape. So
Okay.
I guess it's in the ape family.
Hmm.
So obviously related to humans. They do use the words large and hairy, so it's close to that. But it's just I don't understand how there can be so many people who claim to have seen him for him not to exist.
Okay.
But like you've lived in West Virginia all your life, except for like sans the last 5 years, because
Right.
of going to college.
Right.
And would you say West Virginia is wooded?
Yeah.
Would you say they've like explored all of it, like every
No.
single? Okay, so I feel that if there are so many places around the globe, specifically wooded areas that are just unexplored. Not like, yes, they might all be claimed, but that's just because of the world we live in. Like, we have to own things. I think that Bigfoot has to exist until somebody can say that, like, I can see all of the world right now, and he's not there. I'll believe it.
Okay.
And because of so I also did a little bit of research before we went on to here.
Sure.
And I was on the website Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization.
Okay.
And I started looking around. I started doing a little poking. And I came across the sightings list to where you can say that you've sighted things. And we live in Pennsylvania, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And according to this website, there are a number of recorded sightings in Pennsylvania, 113. And the most cited areas that Bigfoot has been claimed to have been there is Allegheny County, which is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 9 sightings. All right?
Just randomly in Allegheny County.
Yeah, like Bell Vernon, I think, was one of them. But then I also saw that the state with the most sightings in the United States is Washington. Is Washington wooded?
Yeah.
Adventure? All right. And I just think that somebody put a lot of effort into this website. I'm hoping we put a little bit of like a screen capture so people can see what I'm looking at home. You can donate there. I think they're legit, first of all.
Sure.
I don't know. I just feel like it can't be a hoax. Like, I understand like how people say like dragons aren't real, because like you don't see them flying around, you know.
Yeah, but what if they just?
You can see more of the space of like air than you can of
they
land.
could live in the woods.
with Bigfoot riding on a dragon, that'd be kind of cool.
My problem with Bigfoot is that he's not like Nessie is more believable because Nessie only lives in Loch Ness Lake or Lake. It's just Loch Ness, I think. Loch
But
is Scottish.
You can like visit all of it, can't you? Like you could theoretically
in the same way you can visit all of Crater Lake.
Sure. Well, no. Crater Lake's really deep. How deep is Loch Ness?
Look it up.
All right, I'll just start Googling it.
But I mean, my problem with Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever is that he's seen all over. And I mean, I'm sure you could find instances on that website where he's been seen in 2 different places, totally opposite, super far from each other, but at close times.
Correct. Like that's very true, but I'm not saying because maybe this is where we're like there's a little bit of a disconnect. Maybe this is where you're not believing it and I am believing it. Bigfoot, I'm not saying Bigfoot is one thing. I'm not saying it's one person.
Okay.
It's not like one Bigfoot. So one Sasquatch. I'm saying that there are a multitude of Sasquatches.
But I don't think
Sasquai.
I don't think that goes with the legend of Sasquatch. I think there's one Bigfoot.
Well, then my question is, okay, then yeah, I think there's one Sasquatch out there that maybe goes by the name Bigfoot. I'm saying that I think that like Sasquatches could exist. I'm saying the reason that I think they could exist is because so many people have claimed to have seen them. Mm-hmm. I don't see a website for people that claim that they've seen dragons.
Have you looked
I'll
at
look
it?
for it. I haven't came across it yet. So I found the statistics for Loch Ness, and it's 745 feet deep.
Okay.
And your example was Crater Lake, which is 1,946 feet deep.
Okay. What's
That's
the total?
almost 3 times.
What's the area? Area
Jeez, the
of Crater
volume?
Lake. No, look. Yeah, right there. Area of Crater Lake.
Where at? I don't see that.
To the right. To the right. To the right.
Oh, okay. The area of Crater Lake is 20.6 miles. And
Is
the area...
Is that cubed or squared?
Oh, shit. Squared.
Okay.
And then Loch Ness is 21.78 miles squared as well. So it's bigger.
So
Just
it's
not
bigger.
as deep. We can definitely get down 745 feet easier than 1,945 feet.
Right.
Yeah. So, point proven, We can discover if Nessie exists or not. That's easy.
Well, who's to say that there's not a Crater Lake monster?
There might be. I'd jump on board on that real quick. I mean, the center of Crater Lake is Wizard Island, and magical things happen there, so I don't see why not, why there isn't.
Right.
And I swore I saw something when I was swimming in it. Something touched my leg.
It might have been the weird fungi growing there.
I probably have a disease. Okay, well then that question then, Sasquatch. Do you think Sasquatches exist?
Like
Not the one myth
a
of
species of
Yeti.
hairy.
Of Yeti, yes.
Sure.
Okay, because like the Yetis are supposed to have hailed from the the Himalayas. That's where they have said to have came from. And Yetis are pretty much just upright albino apes.
Okay.
That are really tall. So, and I guess the other argument is that they are like I don't know the exact stage because I don't study it, but they're like the stage between humans and apes.
Okay.
According to evolution. So, I think the argument that a lot of people have about Sasquatches is that there are apes. So, if apes exist and they are of a past stage, then where are all the other ones that were in between? And the in-between stages would be the Sasquatches. And I think the idea is that apes are not intelligent enough to hide as well, whereas humans have developed enough to be able to create societies. And I think that the Sasquatches are believed to have the intelligence to like remain hidden, but not to have developed. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, how do you feel about that argument?
I could hop on board with that because I don't remember the exact citation of what I'm about to say, but a couple years ago there was a forest in China that was totally clear cut, and while they were cutting that forest,
Do you know how big it was?
no.
Okay.
But while they were cutting that forest, they found something like 100 or 200 new species of animals that had never been seen before, because they just lived in this one forest, and it's kind of sad. But
It's very sad.
but like they had never been, those animals had never been seen. We didn't know those species existed.
Do you know of any of the animals, like what they were at all? Like any of the species?
This is a really incredible
Man,
source.
you need to do some research.
Well, your topic was a surprise to me.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're not wrong. Okay, you keep talking about that. I'll do some Google.
But I mean, if you can find 200 species that you've never even heard of before,
yeah,
in one forest, who's to say that the entire Pacific Northwest or parts of Pennsylvania apparently have a former evolutionary stage of the human race? Creationists, that's who. They would say that's not a possible thing.
Yeah. And yeah, to go off of like scientists discovering new species. Do you remember when that fad came out with I don't know if it was a fad, it's just I guess a viral video. And it was of the Galapagos lizard. I don't know what it was exactly called. They're nicknaming it Godzilla because it just looks like Godzilla.
Okay.
All right, maybe we can put that video up so people can see what I'm talking about. It's
right here.
It's like this lizard that lives in the Galapagos Islands, and it looks exactly like Godzilla, just like a really tiny, like scaled down version of Godzilla. And they had like footage of it swimming and stuff like that, and it was like bizarre because like nobody's ever seen it besides like portrayed as Godzilla, and it looks like a cross species of like an alligator, a turtle without its shell, and like an iguana.
Mm-hmm.
It's so maybe it's Galapagos iguana. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Maybe.
And like how is it that we haven't like known of that when it like is almost 4 or 5 feet long, you know?
Right.
And I understand like it's in the water, like it's in the ocean, so the ocean's a little more undiscovered than the planet Earth.
Yeah.
But I just think that if there's stuff like that being found every day, like there's no reason for somebody to say Sasquatches, also Bigfoot, does not exist.
Right. Well.
What about on other planets? Could a Sasquatch exist on another planet? Sasquatchia or Sasquatchatron.
Well, if we're gonna be any kind of nerd, we sort of have
Sure.
to believe that Chewbacca's home planet of
Ooh, it starts with a K. Starts with a Kashyyyk. Is it Kashyyyk?
might be.
I think it's Kashyyyk.
Yeah. If his home planet exists, because it did take place in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Or maybe it's just one long. I'm not that big of a nerd.
To know the first lines. How do you spell Kashyyyk?
It's really bizarre. I do remember that much. Maybe 2 eyes.
I'll just try Chewbacca's home planet.
But I mean, so far we don't know of that galaxy being
3 Ys.
3 Ys. Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know of that galaxy becoming destroyed. So we should believe that Wookiees are real. And I feel like Wookiees are kind of the closest thing to Sasquatch.
Oh, I honestly think that that's where George Lucas got his inspiration to make Chewbacca.
See, I was maybe gonna go the other way around and say that somebody had a Chewbacca costume and was walking around the woods doing a reenactment.
Well, no.
And somebody thought he was Bigfoot.
The first or the most well-known sighting is that one video where it's like a little overweight and it has that Neanderthal-like brow with a pointy head.
That's the word that we were trying to think of.
Neanderthal.
The stage between.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's weird. So thinking on that nerd level that there is a planet in a galaxy far, far away, that could also apply to our known universe. That in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, now how nerdy are we going? Because that galaxy would technically be part of our universe, unless you believe in the multiverse theory.
I don't know what the multiverse theory is. I'm not that big of a nerd either.
Just that there's more than one universe.
Oh, no. What?
Like
there's a universe that is constantly expanding.
Until recently, yeah, our universe is constantly expanding.
Is it running into another universe? Is that what we're talking about?
If you believe in the multiverse.
Well, then no, I don't believe in the multiverse because there's one universe that's constantly expanding, and if we ran into it, then the universe couldn't expand anymore. And what are you talking about? Are we like in an endless we're a universe within a universe?
No.
Okay.
We'd be a universe within the multiverse, so there'd be other universes.
So the multiverse is a universe that has other universes in it.
Right.
That are expanding.
Right.
Is the multiverse expanding as well?
I don't know, but if the universe is going to expand into another universe, then is it really our responsibility to try to uphold equality?
Yeah, do Sasquatches have the same rights as us advanced?
I think that's what we need to worry about is making sure Sasquatch gets out into the open and getting him equal rights.
Equal pay. Yeah, equal pay. They can vote.
They don't sit on the back of the bus.
They reserve the right to own a speedboat as much as the rest of us.
Right. But those big feet have to go. We got to do something about those big feet. They can't have big feet.
Well, yeah, they're ruining our sidewalks.
Yeah.
Like I can't walk down the street.
Or they just pay extra taxes.
Well, how are they making their income? They're not allowed to work anymore. Nobody wants them to work.
They shear each other, and then the really talented ones knit together Sasquatch sweaters, and it becomes a commodity.
I guess. So like we just described like a different racial scenario, and it was humorous. Mm-hmm. And that's because we just used a ridiculous mythological creature.
Right.
And everybody who's listening to this, all 4 people, are probably like, that's ridiculous. Like, why would that be a problem? And that's true. Because everybody should just should be able to own a speedboat.
Right.
Like, I should be able to go fast, and so should Sasquatches.
Right.
Sasquai.
Right.
Yeah. So, to all you Sasquatches out there, I believe in Harvey Dent.
Love everybody.
Yeah, if you're gonna take anything away from this podcast, is that you should love everybody, and that Sasquatches do exist.
Maybe.
Possibly, but we're not the ones to say.
Not totally deniable.
No, and I think that is arguable by everybody. I think everyone should be able to continue this conversation. And discuss these topics with their own friends, because I think these are things that should be talked about amongst like everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think this might have been the thing we had to do is start the conversation. Yeah. We're going back to the.
This was our responsibility.
We are going back to the are we responsible for what the past generations have done?
Right.
And I think this is a good way to do that. It's spreading the word, not spreading a video, not spreading not spreading a picture
We're not,
or
we're
like
not
for
being biased to video watchers or listeners. All of them can
they
hear
all
our message.
they all reserve the right to give their opinion.
Anyway, back to the original question. Do I believe in Bigfoot?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I don't believe in Bigfoot either because I just don't think that one.
Right.
I think that if he's like the Ashton Kutcher of Sasquatches,
Right.
and I don't believe in Ashton Kutcher, so
No, he's fake.
yeah, he's not real.
No.
So I don't know.
Okay. How big is Bigfoot's foot?
I think it's less than Shaq's foot actually.
Is there
Yeah,
a stat?
probably. I mean,
Is
this
there a stat?
Google. How big is Bigfoot's foot? But like, would you knowing the size of Bigfoot's foot, would that really change your opinion?
No.
Okay.
Now I'm just going to become a Bigfoot hunter, and it's going to be my life's responsibility to prove you wrong that Bigfoot does not exist.
I understand that. So, I'm going to look for the size of Bigfoot's foot. Alden, I think we are pretty much done with this episode. I think it's about time to wrap up. But I guess we got to finish our beers first, because that's generally how we should do this. I'll get there. You know what's funny? There's a footnote section of the Bigfoot Wikipedia.
Are they
How
big?
ironic is that?
Are they big?
I don't know. I can't find the size of his feet, but whatever. I'll put it up in the description of the podcast when I find it. Alden, you can wrap up because I stuck up your.
All right. So like we said at the intermission of this podcast, if anything we said offended you, we're very sorry. If anything we said made you laugh, awesome. If anything we said makes you want to talk to us, please do. So feel free to send any criticism, laughter comments, like we enjoy haha or lol, LMAO, any of it, tweet at us. And
Hashtag bless Harambe.
yeah. And if we made you mad, please tell us, because we're not trying to make anybody mad. We're just trying to share some hour-ish long comedy, deep thoughts. Hope you all have a good day, night, morning, depending on when you're listening to this.
Or during work. That's when a lot of people like to listen to podcasts.
That's usually when I listen to mine, too.
All right, thank you.
So long.
See you next episode.